Hello, welcome to On the Couch with KWI. I'm Ashley Applegate and I'm joined today with Tyler Hardin. Tyler, what made you decide to choose KWI for your training facility?
Well, me personally, I'm a Fleming County native, and I welded up at the high school for 3 years before KWI. And, it was just local and close, and it was convenient for me to just attend here.
Okay, cool. So during your local training, tell us about that. Did that really get you prepped up for what KWI had to offer after high school?
Oh, yeah. Over at my high school shop, it's a lot of the same courses with KWI. It's a lot of matching together. And you start off the same way, and whenever I got in, I got a real big head start because I already knew how the program was sort of laid out.
Okay. So when you're talking about a lot of the same stuff, so a lot of high school programs are going to do the stick welding and the flux core and the TIG and that sort of thing. Looking back at your high school career, what would you have done a little bit different to more prepare you for KWI?
I would have tried to done a lot more pipe work in school. I did a lot of welding on plate, structural welding, instead of a lot of pipe welding. I wish I would have gone back and did a lot of pipe work.
Okay. Yeah, for some high schools, the budget pipe in the program and have enough time to get that done is pretty tough, but I think every high school student wishes they could obviously get more weld time. During that time, any competitions that you competed in, any organizations?
Yes, the Urals KWI contest, I attended it, and I did a few state threes competitions, and that's about it for me.
Okay. So for somebody looking at that KWI competition that's coming up in a few months from now, what do you have for them? What kind of advice, what do they need to work on or think about or prepare for?
Definitely working under the time and pressure that you're put under, because it's a lot different than you just having no time limit. You can just sit there, focus, take your time with it. When you're under that time limit, you gotta really hunker down, know what you're doing, and get stuff done before if you go before the time ends. If you go after that, you're a bust and you can't even make it to the bend. And that's how the certs are. You're timed on your weld test, so that really helps you with that too, because if you get under that pressure and you mess up, you're kind of screwed from that point.
Okay, so when you say the certs are, you're referring to the AWS certs at Kentucky Welding Institute. So there's a time limit on those as well. What do you think was the hardest cert that you can think of from KWI?
Probably definitely that combo monster. Just having to put in that TIG root, taking up time, and then filling it out with that 7018, and then making sure it's level on your fill passes, and then once you go to cap it, making sure you don't have high or low spots. It's the monster. It's scary to everybody.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of intimidating. Even the name, the monster, makes sense. So that 2 3/4, 5/8 wall coupon, how long do you got to do that?
3 hours.
Yeah, well, depending on which different test you've got. That stainless steel monster is a 3-hour test, but that combo monster is just a 2-hour type of
That's a lot
test.
of welding to cram into just 2 hours.
It is. And then KWI does this to make sure that we're getting you ready for that industry, because most companies are going to give you 3 or 4 hours to accomplish that test. So if you can knock it out in a third or 2/3 of the time as all the other people applying for the job, that gives you a big advantage that you might have. What about other credentials at KWI? What else did you earn while you were there?
Well, when you go into your pipe program, you even get the structural plan with it. That's the first thing you do. You got to go through the basics there. You go get your 1-inch stick out, your 1-inch flux core, and then you got your combo plate, which I know is not really a cert, but you go through those, and you also get your structural welding. You're not just only getting pipe with it, and that's what I liked about it too, because I got to learn a whole lot more throughout that.
Right. So it's something you can fall back on. If there's not a pipe job available, you can fall back to a structural job because you got those credentials and those qualifications. Looking at other credentials outside of welding certs, what do you value as the most important you think is going to help your resume float to the top?
Definitely the NCCO rigging and signaling that you all offer. I mean, you could get on there could be a job, you apply for welding, they say you got your NCCO, well, job ends for welding, but they still need riggers and signalers.
Right.
You can stay after an extra month or 2 months just to, an extra pay. I mean.
Right. Yeah, and in a lot of cases, you hired in as a welder, so you may get welder pay to do that rigging or that crane signaling. Getting you ready for that training, is it all set in the classroom and study a bunch of books, or how does that training work for you?
No, we got in the mornings on first shift, you would go in for an hour, or it might be 2 because this is a big test for everybody. I mean, you go in for extra time in that classroom, but you go in and you go over the test. I mean, not really the test, but what's going to be on it, and for 2 hours, and then you're going to go out and do the practical test. I mean, you're going to be signaling an actual crane that you all offer, and then you're rigging up actual equipment. I mean, and then preparing you for that big old, the practicals and the exams.
Yeah, so it's a 2-part test. To be CCO certified rigger or signal person, you got to take a written test, and you got to take that practical test, and those have to pair together for that certification. So if you were going to look back on it, what one thing would you have done different or told Tyler to do different on day 1 at KWI that would have helped you coming through that program?
Definitely take advantage of you all allowing us to stay after right there in the beginning. At the beginning, I didn't really stay after as much as I should have. But, you know, picking it up, staying after, pulling 10s and 12 hours shifts up there, I mean, that's free time you all are giving us.
Well, we've been talking with Tyler, KWI on the Couch. Tyler, I want to thank you for coming in and joining us today, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video and look forward to more.